Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, hero of the Reich, defender of the fatherland. We will be having a bit of a 1 vs 1 right here on Semwatsky, yes indeed, in the dusty streets of Semwatsky. The Soviet Union shall leap forwards in the name of Comrade Stalin. We shall be seeing Detroit right here fighting for the Soviet Union. And the 10th Guards Mechanized Corps going up against InsaneIvan, not von Ivan, but the Insane One, fighting for Deutschland for the 78th Sturm Grenadier Division. And we are immediately noting here several pioneer squads, thus opting here Mr. InsaneIvan for grabbing a bunch of territory initially. Followed up here with some Grenadier. Spearhead Doctrine, Festung Armor Doctrine, and German Mechanized Doctrines are what is available here for InsaneIvan, with opposing him Detroit's Guard Motor, Guard Rifle, and Shot Rifles are pretty much the box standard right there, but not so for InsaneIvan, who is clearly insane, or well, not quite. Additional Grenadiers following up here for InsaneIvan. Troops moving ahead to secure points. Barbed wire going up here, a bit of early wiring off here from Detroit, wiring off the bridge area. Not an unusual move. What happened a lot in company views happens a lot in company views too. So nothing deeply unusual there, nothing startling, nothing that makes your eyes go pop or anything like that in some mystical gesture. Additional Grenadiers arriving here for InsaneIvan. We're seeing plenty of conscript squad in the meanwhile for Detroit. Focusing rather heavily on the west, going straight for both fuel points, by the way, whereas, interesting enough, InsaneIvan, possibly insane, is in fact not really making much of an effort towards the closest fuel point. Again, I see that happening a lot, you know, in the latest version comes to 2 again, you know, a lot of players tend to sort of go more towards the right-hand point, a lot of them tend to, you know, not quite, you know, go for the fuel points, whereas some others, on the other hand, just go for both. So in this case, it's a bit odd, in particular with the German players who tend to rather, you know, not focus very much on the fuel. But additional MG42 now arriving here for InsaneIvan. Apparently his insanity is not contained to a lack of machine guns. There go initial engagement going up. Grenadiers holding up the for victory point, being engaged by conscripts. Interesting enough, InsaneIvan actually decides to pull back here. He could perhaps, you know, actually got a few good shots off in the conscripts, but instead moves up here into the cemetery, linking up with another squad of Grenadier, thus gaining overall advantage here against Detroit's conscripts, who's meanwhile pushing up here in the west. Only a few pioneers are there to hold things up. MG42 moving up. Conscripts suffer 1 man down. Pull back. Grenadiers, I think, could stand to walk over. Advance up to the next wall. Get a bit closer. Minesweepers up here on the second. Oh, well, basically has a removal package up for the other chaps. Getting a minesweeper and the ability to clear out any obstacles. Conscripts moving in. Each conscript squad up here. All of a sudden they're being engaged likely a Molotov right here. There we go, forcing the Grenadiers further back into the cemetery behind the tombstones, with a threat that it might join the occupants there. But there we go, the conscript squad there was out in negative cover. Bit of a bad tactical decision right there for Detroit. He did lose a lot of men in the middle of the road. Only 1 man lost right now for InsaneIvan, but he's quickly losing control of the rest of the map though. Using only a few conscripts hold up a larger part of InsaneIvan's infrastructure so far, it's working out nicely. MG42 covering this aspect. Additional Grenadier squad, and looks like he's also getting a mortar out. That's going to be a reasonably heavy tier 1 actually out there from InsaneIvan. 3 Grenadiers, an MG, and a mortar plus 2 pioneers. That is definitely not light play. And we're seeing already here the medic upgrade is up for Detroit's headquarters.
Standing by.
I think he could stand to, you know, trying to flank about a bit, but apparently not. MG42 advancing, pioneers moving up. Grenadiers moving up. And there go conscripts moving in. I'm not entirely sure why InsaneIvan is sending his MG42 out in the open with no clear idea where it might be happening. I think that was a bit of a tactical blunder right there from InsaneIvan. And there we go. Detroit is taking advantage of the fact he's using 1 squad in heavy cover to keep the MG42 occupied, to flank in another squad with nothing to cover the flank of the MG42 again. InsaneIvan apparently forgetting about the entire force and his flank. Troops continue to be held up. Their mortar has arrived. MG42 needs to retreat. Rückzug. They're going out here. Light machine gun would definitely not be a bad idea right now for InsaneIvan. Flamethrowers engaging versus the minesweeper equipped pioneers. InsaneIvan so far having a bit of trouble holding any ground. Mortar though is sending up grenadiers again. Need to push up. Get a light machine gun up. Maschinengewehr. Maschinengewehr.
Yes?
Cons groups now outmaneuvering the last remaining grenadier squad right here. Although it looks like there might be a squad wiped out here for Detroy. And looks like... Oh, he did pay attention. That's good. Heavy mortar fire. Grenadiers need to be careful. There we go. Light machine gun going up. Pioneers linking up with the grenadiers in the cemetery. And there we go. Getting Molotov. Oh dear. Retreat. Rückzug. Verrückte Ivan. There we go. Mortar fire. Light machine gun for ultimately pushing them. MD42 needs to get reinforced. Get back into the fight. Riot grenade available. He has checked out, but now the consul's closing in, showing he can't use it. A bit of a shame there. Another Molotov off. Move it. Ooh, that was close. Molotov again. Detroit clearly fond of his Molotovs, of his incendiary bombs. InsaneIvan ultimately pushing in and needs to do rather quickly. He can't keep up like this. He has barely any territory at the moment, and his opponent has most of the fuel that is not really sustainable for a long amount of time. There we go. MG42 moving up. Points are being taken. He's going straight for the fuel point as well with his light machine gun equipped grenadier squad. Ultimately cutting off the munitions right there. Pioneers moving in. And we're seeing a second MG42. This is going to be a very heavy tier 1 right there for InsaneIvan. That is quite something else. Alternating here. Nice work there from Detroit. Quickly popping down some mines right there. Good spot in the middle of the road, or at least by the road. Slowly advancing here. MG42 matching a position in the church. Bunker up. He needs to be careful. I mean, he's going again for a very empty one. He could risk making himself a bit vulnerable to a vehicle rush. But there we go. Oh, mine went off. That was a bit unfortunate right there for Detroit. Unfortunate. MG42 taking up position in the church and getting burned alive. Or at least attempted to be burned alive. There we go, though. MG42 up. Mortar rounds continue to fly down. Will they be able to do it? And looks like the engineer crew was finally forced away, though that was pretty close. And a Molotov finally forces the MG42 to vacate the premises. A bit close.
Machine gun squad.
There we go. Bunkers up like the medic bunker. MG42 takes up position a bit further back. MG42, Max Schnell. Ivan all of a sudden getting very aggressive with his grenadiers up here, going to push up right next to his opponent's base. I think that's a bit much with grenadiers this low on health. I think InsaneIvan is getting a bit too reckless.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
And right now, of course, he's running into quite the force, and again, his grenadiers are in a lot of trouble. Needs to retreat them right now. Rückzug, verlassen, die Stellungen, and there we go. He might still lose them and retreat. So, again, he pushes like a bit too far. Rather here, interesting setting up of the fuel cache. Partly, of course, it protects a vital cut-off point, but of course, at the same time, it's also rather exposed. That would have been a more safe point for a fuel cache, but let's see how this actually works out. Either way, though, we are clearly seeing here there is a focus on getting out a lot of fuel all of a sudden. And we're seeing Special Rifle Command going up here. Harassment now occurring a bit more aggressively. InsaneIvan a bit more back in things. Laying down mines of his own, but coming under fire, thus spoiling the surprise, of course. InsaneIvan should probably cancel setting down those 10 mines. Now that, again, this surprise has been ruined. I think Mortar could also stand to a bit closer.
What do you need?
It looks like he finished the telemines. Gunny's up here, and InsaneIvan actually spreading out pretty far. And, you know, he could be using his MG42 a bit better to then cover some of the other part of the flank. InsaneIvan spreading out awfully thin all of a sudden, and rather making it easy for Detroit to actually move in and separate the units one at a time and destroy them much more easily. There we go, units down here caught in the fire of the MG42, might get a Veterans 2-1. There we go. Nice hit from the mortar right there. Veterans 1 for the Granatenwerfer. Consolidation pushing in from the north. Grenadiers continue to hold up here in the north, it seems. Hoping to draw in Detroit with a Molotov for a longer fight. Getting the munitions there. Still no sign of a light mechanized company. Flooding a bit many resources for my liking right there. Mr. InsaneIvan. And both end up retreating right there. Seems both a bit worried.
We have our reinforcements.
Reinforcement!
But InsaneIvan needs to be careful. There's nothing covering his mortar at the moment. Going for the resources right there. Cutting off this part of the map. That's lovely.
Bunker is now a field hospital.
But there's a bit of a problem. That is that InsaneIvan is at the moment rather lacking any strong point. There's no thing for his defense track to work from. Nowhere to attack from besides his space, which of course makes things a bit trickier. There we go. Finally, like to mechanized coming up. We also see mechanized doctrine up. Then going before it's not light machine gun up here. Conscript moving up with a Molotov. Decide though to cancel. In fact, they also they exposed to all of the grenadiers with a light machine gun in tow. Troops enforcement, there we go. Marsh, marsh. And a light mechanized group sent in from a nearby Panzer division apparently to provide support. I would imagine anyways. Conscripts here need to be careful about lingering around too much when there's a mortar about. MG42, not sure why moving in like that. Grenadiers and half-tank movement to deal with conscripts up north. Rather brutal set of engagements. Grenadiers here running into a bit of trouble in the north. It looks like both sides are a bit eager to ignore the other. Conscripts got wiped out for Detroit, popping over to Detroit. Who's got now a sniper out on the field actually. Also got tons of fuel. Also no doctrine so far has been chosen. Of course things are getting a bit more rockly now with the lighter mechanized group and the 250 out. We are seeing anti-tank grenades still coming out. That's definitely going to help. Looks like he might try and hunt down the unit right there. Grenadiers up here need to be careful. Same for units are moving in.
Combat engineers.
But that actually means 4 squads of grenadiers and 2 of them with light machine guns. Snipers arriving. Fun fact about the 78th Storm Grenadier Division was that actually it was a very, very heavily equipped infantry division, very much meant for attacking. It was, in essence, for basically every infantry squad was equipped like a Panzer Grenadier squad that is heavily with light machine guns in compared to a regular Grenadier squad. Otherwise, they also had a lot more mortars of the heavy kind and even packs in every infantry company. So in many regards, much more heavily equipped, and also, even more rarely, they actually had a full Stug brigade attached to them. Which meant a battalion of Stugs, or was, yes, a battalion of Stugs with infantry attached to them. And there we go, anti-tank grenade. I know it can actually resist some, but even then you usually want to be a bit careful with that. Sniper advancing down here. Mines going up there, good, good. Conscripts need to be careful this close. Again, the grenadiers will barely take any damage in comparison. And of course they can drive up and actually fire with the light machine gun while the half-tank is moving, which of course makes it a bit more lethal that way as well. Rather much pushing. Ivan continued to sort of try to take every part of the map, and in that sense, in some regards, seems to be himself open to vicious counterattack from the Russians. With now guards into town, he's gone for guards motor. Half-tank here getting hunted down, anti-tank grenades go off. Already taking quite a bit of damage, Grenadiers moving support, Grenadiers vacating, Fractors needs to keep moving. And there we go, Country's got fortune right past the Grenadiers with light machine gun and veteran 2. That could very well be the end of Yuri. Yeah, Yuri. Yeah. Oh, well, looks like they pulled it off. Never mind then. Guards in pushing up with support from the sniper team. Oh, rifle grenade right against the sniper. Well played right there from InsaneIvan. Half checking 2 repairs. MG42 from the church and the mortar firing away. Not nearby church, but near the church, I suppose. Then he's holding up the church. Actually does also provide protection against the snipers. That is lovely. Half check continues to repairs. MG42 right by the cemetery. Loses 1 man though. And sounds like some grenades went off here. S-mines been laid down to cover right here. Well played there. Actually good use of S-mines. Well placed. Sniper and guard him to vacate the premises, but he continues to take away from the rest of the territory. So it looks like InsaneIvan has been able to hold the centre, but he's still losing the flanks.
Replacements have arrived. Well done, comrades. The point is ours. You need engineers.
Laying down mines constantly there. Good job, Detroit.
Troops have been lost.
Lay down the mines, Detroit. The motherland demands it. And the Soviet industry too.
This is our sector now.
There we go, working on repairing that 250 half-track, the leichten Schützenpanzerwagen.
Mines all set. New units have
Additional conscripts arriving for the Soviet Union, and plenty of fuel. Could it be he's playing for the T-3045s and basically setting himself up, calling a bunch of them, basically just holding up with infantry, guards, infantry, mines until he can get the T-35s out and then begin trying to slowly steamroll the fascists that way. That could definitely work. 250 half-track on the move. Now he's actually popped in some as panzer gunners inside it, creating a mechanized assault group. Aha! Clever, clever. They could actually try and ambush these gentlemen if he so, but no, he's actually going to use it for harassment, it would seem. As of course it also works like. In a sensible fashion. Panzermekanone finally InsaneIvan is perhaps wondering, you know, he might not need to prepare for an armoured assault. We are 50 minutes into the match anyway, some mortar rounds going in down here. Grenadiers pushing up here, cutting down the engineers, but plenty of mines has been laid down by either side in the south. Large infantry force getting in there, no mortar support so far though for Detroit, which could help them a bit. German mortar continues to blast away at the Bolsheviks. An MD-42 covering this aspect. InsaneIvan pissing rounds would be good to set up right now. Of course, he's not quite well. There goes snipers actually getting with the line of fire. Oh dear, why did he try marine the snipers first? Come on, sniper, come on, Friedrich, you can do it. Nein, don't shoot at the conscripts. Oh, that was a vicious right there. Oh, good lord, that's just a massacre. Right there, Detroit, of course, clamped up his troops too much, and he got punished with the MD-42, followed up with a rifle grenade. Well played there, InsaneIvan. You got a sniper squad fully. And up here, conscripts running a lot of trouble. The Panthers is just tearing through them. Squad could likely go down. No, he's actually pulling away rather than trying to follow them, even as it's... Oh, slight mistake there from InsaneIvan. Rather a bit of a missed opportunity right there, getting another squad wiped out in the name of the fatherland. Continue player, and oh, the gunner is awfully close to the mines. Awfully close. So awfully close. I think he should upgrade the other squad with a pair of minesweepers as well and get to work. And there we go, though. T-85s arrive. Also, fun fact, the T-3045 turret, I mean, usually the turret would sort of be more of a separate compartment than the T-3045. It was basically just open up down to the rest of the tank, so they'd basically be standing up inside the turret. And of course, had its own slight disadvantage. A little fun fact there. T-35's advanced. That 250 is in trouble. Panzergrenadiers need to retreat right now. This is schlecht. Sehr schlecht. Ivan kommt in his tanks, or what do you call it? Oh, and they hit the mine as well. That's just rubbish luck right there. 250 trying to escape. Pack 40 needs to get up here. Tailor mines would have been nice right here at the crossroads. And there we go, swiftly advancing. With the workhorse of the Soviet tank armies by 1944-45. There we go. Pack 40 opens up, and it's going to move in. Might try and flank a bit with a Panzerfaust. Opening up, continuing to fight. Quickly just using the road to bypass. And there we go. Half track is down. We do see a support armor crop, but that's not enough. The Pioneer's getting caught as well. Oh no! He's just on a roll. He's just crushing his way through the German lines. Panzergrenadiers wiped out. Von Ivan was clearly not prepared for an armoured rush of this magnitude. Well played right there by Detroit. He's just charging his way through the fascist lines, just causing havoc.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
Trying to hunt down with the pack, and it is trying to sort of hide at... Ooh, another lethal volley of 85mm high explosive shells. Making... Oh, he's hiding inside the medic bunker. But there is no way to hide from the 85. Mines moving up here, but oh no, they're already taking lots of damage from the T-3045s. This is bad. While InsaneIvan might have done a lot of damage, Detroit just gave back, and he did so quite viciously with a pair of T-3045s. And nope, he didn't linger for long. He didn't just go for base destruction. He just went for base disruption, causing a lot of havoc, then getting out of there. Nice use of hit and run right there by Detroit. Absolutely nasty, absolutely vicious. If only InsaneIvan had laid down a few more telemines. Well, but now we do see Sturmgeschütz rolling up. But the losses have certainly been severe. Grenadiers here need to be careful. But he's down now to 2 infantry squads. By the way, it looks like he is doing his best to quickly replace the losses. Stu getting the pintle-mounted machine gun.
We have our new toys.
And light machine guns up now for Detroit's Guard Rifle Infantry. Grenadiers encountering lots of conscripts. T-3045 slowly advancing. And Guards Infantry coming under the minute administrations right there. Oh, nice hit from the Stug. Already half of the Guards Infantry is down to the might of the Sturmgeschütz. Achtung! Guards Infantry suffering like rats in the open. And the T-3045s are quickly rolling up, ready to deliver another scorching blow to InsaneIvan. Stop! Gah!
Enemy forces capturing supply sector.
And there we go, the pack has actually been positioned. Target weak point is now available. If you can use that, that's definitely going to help. But these need to pull back, otherwise they're going to suffer quite drastically.
Incoming mortar rounds.
Don't move the pack, don't. Oh, wrong timing to move the pack, InsaneIvan. Pull back to Grenadiers, by the way, and there we go. Nice hit from the Panzerabwehrkanone. Sturmgeschütz could also try and take up a few shots if he has, for example, spotting scope since he's got mechanized. But back to InsaneIvan, in fact. Does, by the way, access to it, and he does have the upgrade, so now he can actually see it in part. Replacement infantry is on the way, so that is good. Another Sturmgeschütz might be an idea. Minesweepers should also get moving. Teller mines would also help. It looks like a house collapsed right there.
We have our new weapons, brother.
Still, he's having a bit of trouble holding anything more than the centre of the village. He needs to disposition his forces a bit better. Maybe also look at being a little less greedy, but there we go. Second Sturmgeschütz arriving. Minesweepers moving up. Grenadiers need to be nearby to support. Also looks like a light machine gun left behind. I would definitely recommend InsaneIvan's Grenadiers to pick that up.
Grenadier squad at full strength.
Mortar team awaiting orders.
We are ready for action.
But apparently, oh, wait, there we go.
Grenadiers reporting.
DP light machine gun in the hand of the fascists.
Territory secure. Grenadiers.
All Grenadier squads equipped with a light machine gun. Good. I still think a Teller mine right here would do good as well. Continue mortaring up the T-3045, though with limited success in actually hitting. Oh, right grenade here, might set off the mine! No, it did not surprisingly enough, although it did cook off the flamethrower tank. They're going for deflanking in. Infantry launching in first, forcing back the Sturmgeschütz. Nicely done, though there's still the pack. Grenade right in there, Grenadiers nearby to provide support. MG42 forced to vacate the premises, engineers moving up, Sturmgeschütz blasting away, second Stug moving up, also getting the spotting scopes after the pencil mount machine gun. Stug continues to fire away, Guards infantry advancing up, moving up to secure the left flank, conscripts launching assault. This is all out. And there we go, the T-3045s moving in, by the pack opening up, good, good. Increased rate of fire, Sturmgeschütz also, the T-3045s are caught in the line of fire. One has suffered a damaged engine from a Panzerfaust. More charge right there for the fascists to take it out. Second Stug moving up. Can InsaneIvan the 78th Storm Consolidation. And there we go. Both T-3045s went down to 2 Stugs and the veterans in 3 pack 40. Absolutely brutal engagement right here in the centre of the village. Both tanks have been left smouldering. Church is occupied by the forces of atheism. And of Panzerbefehls. Befehlspanzerwagen is out. But a fresh pair of T-35s are moving out. Stugs need to be careful. They are a bit damaged, though both are close to Veterans U1. And there we go. We are quickly seeing here that Detroit is pushing ahead his tanks while he's pulling back the infantry. That was definitely a brutal engagement right there. So many dead. Might clearing out that area. Befehlspanzerwagen moving up. Might get off a nice surprise there on the combat engineers. There we go. High explosive shell ends Boris's life. Troops in need of reinforcement.
Grenadiers
advancing
ready.
slowly. Fuel cache on fire, but still there. Although I'm not entirely sure how much worth burning fuel is. Well, Combat, you know, if it's all on fire, you know, it just works better. That's logic. Is it? Really? I don't know. I'm not a mechanic, I just drive the tanks.
Assault guns standing by. Pioneers reporting objective captured.
Mind you, I mean, he's not going to get that much out of the spotting scope, he's just going to have them staring into the bloody walls.
Grenadiers reinforced. Einsatzbereit.
Double your efforts.
But still, he's getting back some of the territory, but he really needs to extend beyond the village. He tends to focus everything he has in the village. He needs to begin, also defending this part of the area, Begin holding more than one bleeding victory point. And there we go, he's quickly pushing towards that site, which again he's going to suspect is much more likely defended. Well thought there, Mr. Detroit. And mine went off right there. Oh, he lost another grenadier squad. Heavy losses to Insane Ivan's infantry.
Panzer IV, ready.
Another massive infantry assault about to be launched. No, right, getting caught right there by the Stuke and the MG42. Insane Ivan getting out, really a nice charge. There we go. Panzerbefehlswagen also getting a few hits. And some poor bastards left dead in the water.
A new grenadier squad. We are losing a sector.
Go. Preparing as the final Stuke. Looks like he's slowly lining up for a fresh assault. Getting as close as he can to Insane Ivan's positions. So surrounding him before launching it, because again Insane Ivan is making it easy but just holding back as much as possible, which is a dangerous thing to do, in particular considering the amount of victory points he's held. He can't even keep playing at this. Constantly to the north. Comment, he's pushing in there. There we go. Stuke opening up with, for example, also with the spotting scopes. Otherwise, again, he just has a nice range, and there we go, affecting it on the combat engineers, forcing the buggers away.
The enemy is taking our territory. It's done. The enemy has driven a wedge.
Getting a third MG42. I'm not entirely sure if that's what is needed at the moment. The field Panzer moving in here. I might run into some problem here with the T-3045s. Why he isn't sending in the Stukes to support is beyond me.
Panzer IV, ready combat.
There we go. Consul's running into trouble.
The machine and gewehr team is awaiting orders.
And there we go. Running into issues with the Soviet tanks. Detroit at the moment also thinking about defensive though. He's pulling up with heavy mortar to begin bombarding Insane Ivan's position. There we go. With the tank confirmed, he's moving in his Sturmgeschütz to try and deal with it. Pioneers need to get out of there. Quick, Zug.
How can we help?
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
And going straight for the other victory point. Constantly keeping up the victory point pressure. Well done there. And again, the problem is he doesn't really have much to defend it because he keeps, bus bunting up the centre.
Now we can see them. Reinforcements complete.
Not sure what he's intending to do with that MG42. There we go. Heavy mortar beginning to bombard the centre. What are you doing, Insane Ivan? What are you doing? Where's the Sturmgeschütz to support it? Looks like he's apparently trying to draw the attention of the T-3045s from his tanks. No, he's now reacting to the others. What are you thinking, man? Seems like he's a bit confused at the moment. MG42 forced to vacate, going in after the mortar. Losses are being inflicted. Church collapsed, losing in one MG42. And there we go, engineers attacking and getting suppressed. Fuel cache. Is it still there or what? I can't see for all the flames. Oh well, it's down. A few engineers lost. Insane Ivan could stand to be a bit more aggressive at the moment. He's giving his opponent too much time to build up currently.
Ready for anything. Grenadiers.
Much too much time, in my opinion. And again, he's basically just sitting around right here. As again, his opponent is actually holding most of the map without actually having to expend much effort except launching a few attacks once in a while to keep Insane Ivan cooped up. But there we go. Looks like he's finally had enough. Looks like he's finally on the move. Guards infantry taking up residence within the building, but they are getting bombarded. Two Sturmgeschütz and a Befehlspanzer just launching shot after shot into the small wooden hut. And there we go, hitting the S-mines. Oh, almost lost the entire squad of guards infantry right there. That would have been a bit of a blow to the Soviet Union. to lose its brave guards rifle infantry.
Panzer here. Here comes Ivan! Yes?
And time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is that InsaneIvan is behind on victory points. He's also behind on overall territory. His opponent, on the other hand, is definitely leading in that department. He is also pretty much also a bit equal in terms of armor, although InsaneIvan, if well handled, can actually lay down a lot more fine, particularly with that Veteran 3-pack. I mean, he can dominate the opponent's armor, but again, the problem is basically at the moment InsaneIvan is sort of pulling a bit of a Führer moment, more particularly a Führer moment in regards to Operation Backlash, which of course he's digging inside the village, that is, he's conducting his own little Festerplatz, and then he's forgetting about everything around it. What happening is, of course, is that Detroit, like a little good Soviet command, of course, is realizing, you know, why on earth should I just attack him where he's strongest? Why don't I just take everything else, force him out to me, and just, you know, occasionally attack him to keep him inside in there? And that's largely working because, again, InsaneIvan seems very afraid to move out. I mean, he takes this, for example, and then leaves nothing to defend it. InsaneIvan's current defensive strategy is a bit rubbish. Tactically, he's playing pretty solid, but currently his strategy is not very strong. Whereas Detroit's offensive strategy, on the other hand, is much more sensible. Again, he knows, you know, he's perhaps not as strong tactically, but if he outplays him strategically, he will win. And currently that's what he's doing. Simply by sacrificing units at the right times, keeping InsaneIvan cooped up here, worrying that there's much more up there than there really is, and basically having to do then afterwards very little, because InsaneIvan then proceeds to do very little in pushing ahead. Essentially what I would recommend InsaneIvan to do is to attack out here, establish a defensive line that runs around here, places assault guns and his Panzer IV command tank here in a reserve position so they can react to an attack here or an attack here pretty quickly. Pop him an MG42 around here to cover against an infantry assault there, keep some grenadiers here, keep some grenadiers here, keep a Pack 40 here to sort of deal with any immediate assaults right there, keep the Troops Corps here to also cover there, but also basically that way he can hold a much larger ground with about the same amount of force. It's about, you know, placing your units correctly and of course keeping a small reserve that can counterattack to sort of where the opponent is actually attacking. Currently what he's doing is pretty much just putting all of his eggs in one basket, and the problem is the basket is too small. It will not win him the game as he currently is playing. Again, he's doing a lot of damage, but then he's not following up on said damage. He's not taking advantage of said damage he's doing. And again, in that sense, while strong tactically, his strategy is at the moment very weak. He needs to change that or he is going to lose. Even against an opponent who is not as strong tactically again, but on the other hand is outplaying him. So that is something that needs to be kept in mind, and again that is something that InsaneIvan needs to quickly sort out. Again, laying down some telemines could definitely make things a bit easier in that regards. Popping over to Detroit though, again, you know, he's taking a lot of beatings, he's losing a lot of precious infantry, he's losing tanks in a much larger quantity than his opponent. On the other hand, again, he's holding most of the map, he's getting most of the resources. He doesn't quite have to worry as much as InsaneIvan about that, again, as long as he holds, and he's also doing that quite nice because he's laying down a lot of mines. He's doing that in regards also well, you know. He's playing defensively. His only problem is, of course, is, you know, his defensive armoured reserve, in a sense, is not perhaps so well placed. In fact, he's using currently all of his tanks to hold up the entire western flank, which is a bit dangerous. A bit dangerous. And you need to deploy up some infantry here. I would suggest bringing up the T-35s round here somewhere so they can actually react reasonably well to an attack here or an attack here, or basically he needs to get more T-35s, then place them one unit here, then the other unit here, and that way have a reserve that can react to things easily. Or for that matter, if he decides to launch an attack, he can then launch in the T-35s from both sides. Otherwise, you know, keep up the pressure. I mean, in that sense, he's also doing it quite nicely, constantly bombarding, constantly pushing, constantly prodding, constantly making InsaneIvan feel a bit unsafe, a bit unsure, punishing every little move, because again, InsaneIvan, when he finally moves, just, you know, pokes out with a finger, because apparently he's a bit worried he'll lose too much. And in that regard, again, you know, he's sending in his troops piecemeal, which again is not helping him either. He needs to make a concerted effort to retake a larger chunk of map, and then again needs to dig in properly with a reserve that can handle things. Because currently, again, also with the way the units are here, again, they need to move about so much for him to be able to react to anything over here. And again, that also delays his reaction time. It's not really good at all. So he needs to set up the armor much, much better to be able to react much, much better. And he can also afford that again if he places the Pak 40 very well, because currently with this increased rate of fire it will very quickly be able to make things very miserable for any Soviet tankist. So that is very much what I would say at the moment. There's a chance to fight.
Enemy sector is at risk.
It's moving ahead there, coming in on fire from the two Stooks. Constantly being caught down the barrage of the strongest shots. Men are losing their lives. Panzer IV prepared to going out. Looks like they're getting suppressed by something. I'm not entirely sure what. Maybe the Stooks. That would be a first, I think. But opening up there. Conscripts getting constantly bombarded. There we go, immediately losing lives. Veterans who won for the Sturmgeschütz. And again, infantry up here. And again, what do you see? The tanks react. He's not sending any armor support in for his grenadiers. Also, another pair of T-35s can now be summoned. The Guards, Mechanized Corps can call in more armor. And of course, you can remember, the Russians at this stage of the war basically operate all the tank divisions by corps. It was a decision made after basically Bagration, where they lost so much armor, well, not Bagration, but after Barbarossa, where they lost so much armor to basically size down all units. So to get sort of the same equivalent as a German West Panzer Division for that maximum, then you have to look at a corps, and in much the same sense they did work in. So it was a bit of a deception, man. It was something that was actually pretty quickly figured out for the Germans. There you go, T-35's moving in though, and again, now he's threatened by tanks on both sides, because again, he lingered too much. He didn't try to deal with them when he could, so now he's actually facing much larger amounts of Soviet armor. And that's going to hurt.
Engineer squad.
Oh, Pioneers running into the problems here. Rückzug, Pioniere. Lots of fire there. And Panzer is pushing up here. Looks like a first Panzer gun of this squad has arrived. And again, no armor support. He's very much too passive, too worried, keeping everything focused up here. Only looking towards one direction. He's hardly getting the most out of his armor by now.
We are ready to go, comrades.
Anti-tank rifle ready.
Conscripts sneaking about. Lots of mortar fire. And there we go. Veterans of fleet increasing the range of the Granatenwerfer right there. Wunderbar.
We are awaiting orders. Taking fire! T-34 ready. How can we help?
Quick mortar up here. Rifle grenade, mortar rounds. Panzer IV Befehlswagen moves up. Stug following in here. Looks like he's going to make a run here for the mortar. Bit bold, but they're also exposing himself to tank grenades. Not sure why he's in the Stug front row. Panzer IV took it. And now we see the reaction. The T-35s are moving in.
Don't give it a target.
Mortar in trouble. Guards infantry moving in. T-35s moving in from that angle. Another Stug arriving. Pak 40 needs to turn. Panzerabwehrkanone. Constant getting shredded. Mortar down. And then go back 3. Pak 40. T-35 flanking in. Nicely done there. No target weak point there. Stug knocked out pretty quickly. The T-35 unlethal. Other Stugs need to quickly return. Bit of an armoured battle right here in the centre of the village. We are seeing marked vehicle up there. Nicely timed. Panzer IV back. Panzer IV needs to move into the same territory as the Stugs. Increase the damage. Take it. Come on, InsaneIvan. You can do it. Remember, defensive bonuses in the same sector as the rest. You can make your Stugs tougher. No, but he isn't doing it. Veteran is you up for the Stug. Increasing armor, increasing rate of fire. Another Stug down. Another T-35 gutted. Still no idea why he didn't move in the Panzer IV command tank into the same territory as the Stug. Looks like he's going to hunt down that last one, and there we go. Gute Nacht. Finally moving into friendly territory, finally getting that defensive bonus. Need to get in and hopefully get off a target weak point right there with the Stug.
The enemy has 75
Heavy losses right there inflicted on InsaneIvan, but no, though. No, this has not been a straightforward battle, as Detroit would have hoped. He suffered himself heavily as well. Very heavily. Another Guardian squad arrives. Target weak point. Fires the heat rounds. Friedrich. Oh, Franz, whatever. Oh, trying to escape the wrath of the Sturmgeschütz, but there is no escape. And there we go. The Stug is victorious, although just barely.
Man down! Your command?
Molotov was not nicely there. Ivan overall, in fact, now has the advantage overall in the infantry size, force size, in fact. He's got more infantry, he's got more support weapons, and he's also got more armor. But there's one thing he doesn't have, which is most of the territory. So again, as I will have said, he is strong tactically, not so strong strategically so far in this matchup. Though still the bit with the Panzer IV was a tactical blunder. I mean, that one is a bit, you know, hard to dismiss or ignore. That really shouldn't have happened. I was expecting better of you, InsaneIvan. You're not exactly a novice. So a bit disappointed there, InsaneIvan, a bit disappointed, and hopefully others can learn from his mistakes. That is also why the Propagandacast exists, to protect and further the cause of Deutschland. Pixely, anyways. Of course, to help commanders serve better. More grenadiers moving up. At least he's good on keeping up a sort of nice complement of infantry on nice bases. That is good. That is wunderbar. Also, there's a chance right here of stealing a heavy mortar. If that was me, I'd steal it faster than you can say. Schwerer Granatenwerfer. 50 points again. InsaneIvan needs to reconfigure, rethink his defensive strategy. Again, the current one is not working out. Also, that Stug needs repairs. I mean, that would be a waste otherwise of such a beautiful piece of machinery.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector. Incoming mortar fire!
And like he's going to be setting up for another pair of T-3045s.
Engineers ready.
There we go. Stug pursuing the pairs. It is Stug. Grenadiers make moves up here. Again, not sure why he's focusing on specifically this point, when rather this would be better. I think it might be a leftover from Company of Heroes again, was this was the fuel point again, very good to harass, and some players sort of go for it like a phantom movement. They're not quite sure what they're doing, but again in part of the heads, this is really great to harass. Which again, would be true if this was Company of Heroes, but this is Company of Heroes 2, so it isn't. Not so great as usual. There you go, another pair of T-35s coming to call in. That's going to be the 8th set of them. Lots of heavy medium armor for the Soviets. We're seeing the MG40 up here, but again, needs more, and that Pack 40 sadly also got wiped out, so that one would be great. In fact, I would recommend a Pack 40 to guard this area. Now the Sturmgeschütz, the 78th Sturmgrenadier Division, calling in more of it. It was actually shattered in Operation Backlash, and it fought around Minsk, a village, a city around Minsk, Orsha, I believe. Ooh, another mine. Good, Detroit actually keeps mining, that's great. Not so much, of course, for his German opponent, but, you know, great for Detroit. Means, you know, he's on the ball constantly. And Comet is running into a lot of issues here with the veterans. And now veterans the 3 MG42. But again, the tanks are arriving. And again, InsaneIvan's plans really seem to not factor in ever that the opponent attacks with armor in the north. Which again is a bit of a problem. In particular when, of course, it needs losing the victory point shortly after. Really, which you can't afford anymore at all. But now we do see the Stugs quickly moving in. Vorwärts.
Forces are capturing our supplies.
And another Panzer IV Befehlswagen from that nearby Panzer Division.
The sector has been cut off. Be brave, comrade!
And again, going for this point. Not sure why. Again, I'm guessing it's that sort of phantom idea that it used to be good. And again, it's rather removing focus that he really needs to be securing the area around him, not right next to his opponent's base. He's thinking about it. There we go. Panzer IV Befehlswagen leading the charge. That's perhaps less good. There we go. Stooks. Now Veterans V, by the way, increasing rate of fire quite a bit. Another target weak point. Target weak point, come on. Fires the heat rounds. And there we go. T-3045's down in seconds. The Stooks, in particular that Veterans V Stook, is dynamite. Conscripts here, and again going for the centre victory point. He's doing his best, but it's obviously not quite enough. Troops coming up here, getting machine gun, mortar continuing to fire away there. Bit 3 Stook moving back to the centre area. MD42 getting pushed away. And there we go, nice hit from the Storm shots. And of course, the increased rate of fire, of course, more likely to kill something. Nice rifle grenade right up here. Maybe InsaneIvan has been able to compensate for his opponent's tactical mistakes and actually overcome things in the long run, maybe. Back to InsaneIvan. Again, is very, very low on victory points.
Pioneers!
You need something?
And an anti-tank rifle left behind. So much infantry, by the way, definitely pulling in as many Sturmgrenadiere as possible. The 78th Sturmgrenadier Division afterwards was actually reconstituted as a Volksgrenadier Division, which was actually given the very interesting name of the Volkssturmgrenadier Division, which was sort of known as the Volkssturm Division. A little fun fact there, but it wasn't actually Volkssturm, it was basically Volksgrenadier. I don't know if there would have been a Sturmgrenadier configuration, I've never actually been able to find that out. And now we're actually seeing Detroit going for support with him coming from here. Maybe he's realised, you know, he should have gone for that early and actually supported his position a bit better. Also because now InsaneIvan seems to be getting things a bit better. More of it now. Overall, I mean, he's been able to hold out in terms of infantry preservation. I mean, in some cases, you know, Detroit, again, not so strong tactically, slightly less good at keeping his things alive. In that sense, you know, InsaneIvan has been given a chance, but again, strategically, he keeps making these mistakes. Again, he digs in so hard in the centre and keeps forgetting about the flanks, even when things are not looking so great. In fact, now he's leaving one MD42 to guard all of this again and again. If there's one armoured assault, it all collapses. So it's not really
Grenadiers reporting.
good. In some regard. And there we go, again, a mine. He keeps hitting the same mine. The same mine over and over again. Of course, that also proves, you know, if one mine goes off, it's not a bad idea to mine the exact same spot again because it's likely going to be hit again. Lightning may not strike twice, but bloody well mines will. So in that regard, InsaneIvan is repeating a bit of mistake again and again and again and again. It's his men paying with their lives. Not really good. Right now, I might also suggest actually getting a howitzer up. Basically, that way you can bombard the points as they're being taken. That way could also serve defensively. It looks like he's now actually getting a Panzerkampfwagen 4.
Assault gun standing by.
But I do think he should leave something additional up here. A bunker would be nice, some barbed wire, some mines, something. Something.
Stuck ready.
The mortar, though, has served well in the name of the fatherland.
Yes. Veterans achieved.
Now we go veterans on for the other Stook. And again, there seems to be little response to the fact that he's losing territory up north.
You will not let up. The enemy still has 300 points.
But now we do see the CIS-3 arriving for Detroit. Goes back to InsaneIvan. His Panzerkampfwagen 4 has arrived. I would recommend moving that up to defend the northern point he's helping. With the spot power spotting tools again, it can actually be harder to ambush. And of course get a bit more of his range. But no, again, not even a response as he's getting cut off there. Come on, Ivan.
We are ready for action.
He should also be a lot more aggressive towards harassing that final victory point, I think. But there you go, Panzer IV leading the way. Don't move it so close, Ivan. Remember the anti-tank grenades.
We are losing the sector.
Mortar rounds going down. Guards infantry coming into contact with the MG42, the veteran to flee, which immediately suppresses the buggers. And there we go, pins them. Lovely. Guards infantry rushed away. Still surprised either that Detroit's not taken it, or that for that matter, you know, that InsaneIvan hasn't taken it. And there we go, Panzer IV pushing Guards infantry away. Again, I think he should take up a defensive position here to support the MG42. In particular, now that Detroit knows about where the MG42 is, in essence, he could actually just launch an assault from two sides and easily clear out the MG42. I mean, that's just going to be one simple flank attack, and it's good night for the MG.
Capture complete.
Whew. Definitely a lot happening in this match, and again, tactically, some nice play from Ivan, but again, you know, it does, I suppose, there's a matchup in rather some way, displacing the difference between good tactics, poor strategy, not so great tactics and good strategy, and what effectively makes sense to get with it.
Our opponents are seizing the sector. Yeah? The enemy has broken our supply lines. The enemy is taking our territory. Look here.
We have secured
Coming up there, careful with that Granatenwerfer.
Now we
Around.
can see them before they see us.
Field gun covering there. Detroit's definitely actually a bit in trouble now.
Our territory.
Again, his unfortunate tactics has left to some serious issues. And there we go, mines once more, they'll end up paying off for Detroit, and looks like he's launching an assault here to retake that point. Veterans fleet comment is burning where the gun is, hoping to force the fascists out in the open. Nice use of light cover while they're there, in fact, managing to force the gunners out of the smoking house. Assault gun in the north. He could also try and create a mechanized grenadier group to quickly react to things as they happen on the battlefield. That would also work out. Grenadiers moving in, point they're lost.
Grenadiers!
Quick rifle grenade there.
We have forced the enemy down to 200 points.
And again, there we go. The assault is moving in. The field gun is moving in, by the way, to support. Trying to protect against a German counterattack with some armor. And again, note the way he does it. He splits his troops up into two groups. Draws the MG, there we go, with one, and then moves up with the other side, likely with a grenade to flush the buggers out. And there we go, actually we see him there, out in the open. And there we go, InsaneIvan perhaps realising the course is lost, but again, now the north is lost.
We are losing a sector.
A quick mechanized grenadier group could perhaps try and turn things around swiftly, at least enough time for reinforcement to arrive. At the same time, of course, he's fighting desperately here, but is there any reaction in north? Any Stooks being dispatched with all due haste? No! Ignoring the infantry.
How can we help? Yeah, I'm in! I need a medic!
But desperate fighting to hold this victory point just as he's holding, using the other one. Conscripts here, they're not doing so well out in the open versus the light machine gun. Again, do not underestimate the light Maschinengewehr. 42. So that is a bad thing. But there we go, ready to hold this area. And again, at the same time, Detroit is not looking so strong after losing all those tanks. He's clearly run out of steam. But again, Ivan persists continually in the same strategy. Again, holding in versus the village, and they're not really bothering much with the flanks of some of those other victory points, which, you know, lead to victory.
Grenadiers, we have liberated this sector.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector. Pioneers ready for assignment.
And there you go, field gun moving up, infantry pushing in here, just as Grenadiers are vacated. Another Panzer IV Befehlswagen, he loves those, that is great.
Ready for orders. The enemy is taking our territory.
Grenadiers reporting objective captured.
Mortar on the Grenadiers. Oh, just as they're trying to take it. Going for the other point over there. Points will be ticking down now. Or soon, anyways. Assault failed. Not enough support at all. Again, not sure why to send up a single infantry squad, in particular when he knows victory points are this close. He should, at this stage, expect his opponent to really do his best to hold the victory points, no matter the cost. I mean, right now Detroit's on a real chance. It's either InsaneIvan suffers a stroke, gets called back to Berlin,
That's it. Fully reinforced.
or, you know, victory point victory. And that last thing is a lot more likely to happen.
Look here. Enemy forces are securing our territory.
We are ready!
And again, InsaneIvan, with his passive play, is sort of abetting it. I mean, there's definitely going to be some things to explain if he loses this match.
25 points. Do not let them defeat
So
us.
actually trying again, note, I mean, still large forces, but still InsaneIvan's force is bigger and more heavily armed than Detroit's. Looks like there's finally something happening. Stug Panzers on the move towards the eastern victory point. Lots of field guns covering. Not sure why sending in the Stug first with nothing to actually clear the way. Spot. Comets coming on the fire. Stug taking a hit there. Veteran 2 for the field gun. Panzer 4 arriving. Mine code. There we go. Nicely done there. Mining the snot out. There we go. Stug hits the mine. Stug has hit the mine. Nice. Not a lot of infantry to actually follow up on this. Points are ticking down. Less than 10. He's done. He's to hold the troops there for a bit longer. Field guns, guards, infantry moving in. Stug barely combat honourable. Gets off a nice hit there. Conscripts wiped out, but points continue to tick down. We are seeing smoke being called in, but not enough. The Stug went down. Can the guards infantry make it before the point? Oh, good lord, just in the nick of time before the point was rendered neutral, and the Panzer IV went down. And another push up here, come on, Ivan. And right there we go. In the end, InsaneIvan did lose again. Strong tactical play, good use of his units, but again, the strategy was not good. It was not useful at all. It was a poor defensive strategy, and it was a defensive strategy, and again, it was very much one centered around holding the village, but also one which clearly had absolutely no care for the rest of the map, and that became ultimately the doom of InsaneIvan. Again, he should have focused up. He should have tried to hold larger territory, and again, it sort of ended up when he then tried to take back. He just got absolutely greedy. He just wanted, you know, if it can't have, then apparently, you know, he wanted everything. He couldn't just, you know, initially settle for one part and then slowly move his way there. And that was also part of his problem. Again, you know, it was either apparently only the village or then everything. He couldn't just, you know, say, well, I'll just hold that hilltop over there with another victory point, build a defensive point there, beat up an attack, then slowly push forwards. No, it had to be everything. And again, that was rather what allowed Detroit to ultimately overwhelm and, well, basically overtrick Ivan. Because he made a few aggressive moves initially, which rather forced Ivan back on the defensive. And otherwise, you know, he just played around a bit, made a few attacks. And again, though, clearly, I mean, again, he had problems keeping his troops alive. He was not really good at retreating them, but again, strategically, he was superior to InsaneIvan. Despite the mistakes he made, you know, he lost units here and there, not so good armor handling at times, but ultimately, again, he just outplayed him. And he actually did a lot of damage several times, basically by just, you know, outthinking him and just rushing his tanks in the right spots from many senses, you know. Good Soviet commander, he just needs to work on his tactical play, and otherwise, you know, he would be a really, really good player. So, I mean, really good thumbs up there for Detroit. InsaneIvan needs to work on his strategy. Seriously needs to work on his strategy, because, again, that was an absolutely rubbish defensive strategy. And that's ultimately what cost him the game. Not the rest of the game, it was ultimately the strategy, though, again, he also made a few tactical blunders again, like, for example, just not pulling the Panzer IV into the territory of the Stugs and getting them defensive bonuses that could easily make them much more less likely to get blown up. So there you go. I hope you learned a lot from this match. I really do. If you did, why not subscribe to your friends? If you didn't, well, why not simply provide some feedback in the comments? This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.